Hello, this is Virtualis the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. One of the biggest ego boosts when analysing a game on chess.com's analysis engine is when the computer rates one of your moves as brilliant. This happened in a game I played earlier today. Although it started off well, I lost my advantage from the opening with some inaccurate play in the mid-game. Then, I managed to head off a potentially devastating attack by the opponent with this move that the bot rated as brilliant. I hope you enjoy! All right, so let's have a look at the review. So this is chess.com's review. Not a great game for me or for my opponent. Accuracy around 70%. Mix of good moves, some mistakes and inaccuracies. We each shared some blunders, but now I have got this brilliant move here. That brilliant move here, which I think allowed me to save the game. Now let's have a quick look at the analysis. All right, so I played white, so e4, and the opponent played c5, the Sicilian defense. And against the Sicilian, I usually play the Grand Prix attack, so knight c3, opponent played a6, and I played f4, the beginning of the Grand Prix attack. And I usually play the Grand Prix because it sort of helps take me out of some of the complications of the Sicilian. Opponent plays e6. Here I decide to play a4, and the logic here is that it prevents the queen side push of b5. So that basically neuters that potential push, as the opponent will end up hanging their rook. Opponent plays bishop e7. I develop knight f3. Here the opponent does something that I found somewhat unexpected. So bishop h4 with check. I didn't quite see why they would do that, given that that seemed like a fairly free bishop. The opponent could capture back, but then they lose tempo because that queen would basically be forced back. There's no good place for the queen afterwards. So I was happy to capture, which was the right move. Opponent captures back with queen. G3, basically evicting the queen all the way back to their starting square. So opponent could have placed the queen on e7, but in any case, white is now better. d4, taking full control of the center, given that the opponent hasn't developed any of their pieces so far. Captures back with queen, so doing very well now out of the opening. Opponent develops their knight to f6, and at this point I wasn't actually entirely sure what would be the best series of moves. So I developed my bishop here. Now the opponent wanted me to play queen d6, and I think the logic here is that it allows for the bishop to potentially plop itself on b6, now with an attack on the queen, and potentially we trade queens. King is forced to capture back, and now we're left in a position where the opponent basically has barely developed any of their pieces, lost their queen, lost their castling rights, while I've got some pawn development and some just better off. So I think that was the logic behind the recommendation for queen d6. I didn't see that, and I doubt I'll see something like that again. Opponent develops knight c6, putting pressure on my queen. I brought it back to f2, and again the opponent still thinks that this is a great move. Opponent plays h6. Here I play bishop e3. So with this idea now supported by the queen, opponent short castles. I decide to kick that knight because it didn't seem like there was a good place for the knight to go, other than potentially to e8 or h7. I expected them to go to h7. And that's what they did. And I thought, potentially here there was a possibility if I could get a bishop and a queen lined up in that diagonal that I might have checkmate chances. I long castles, popping my rook onto the f file, now staring down at the queen. The opponent moves their queen out of the way, but that was probably not the best move for them. I'm quite a bit ahead now. Now with the bishop to b6 as per the previous plan, and the opponent now pretty much must drop their queen onto b8, and effectively these pieces are somewhat in jail. They're kind of out of the game at the moment. So again, I was quite happy with that development. Now from here on, I don't think I play so well, and I lose a lot of my advantage from the opening. I play bishop d3. They do a push, pawn f5. Here, I thought quite a long time on what would be the best move, and I just decided to go en passant. Apparently, that was not the best move compared to just g4. The capture back with the knight, so the knight has now been given a reprieve and out of that square on h7, all the way on the side. I play f5, and here, with these pawn pushes, I've lost most of my advantage. And I thought here I could do something, but apparently that was not a good move. Captures back with queen. The opponent plays a good move with d5, and the issue for me is that I was under attack with the bishop, and I wasn't sure, well, what would be the best place to put the queen. And I wanted the queen to stay on this diagonal, as that was potentially really, really powerful. I just needed a way to get rid of that knight, and I thought maybe there was something here, maybe there's something there. So I wanted to keep my queen on the diagonal, which is why I played queen g6, which was apparently a serious bad move. Luckily for me, the opponent immediately blunders that all the way back. The opponent had a powerful potential move with the knight there, bringing defenders around their king. So at the moment, we're back to close to equality. I now bring the h rook to the f file for an attack on the knight, and here the opponent makes, I think, a brilliant move. So simultaneously, that knight to e5 attacks my queen and my bishop. Discovered attack on my other bishop, and it almost looks like I must lose some piece because I can't. It appears that I've got no place that I can place my queen that allows me to continue to protect that bishop. So it looks like I might be losing one piece, maybe more than one piece. And at this point is where I found what chess.com called a brilliant move. And this was rook f6. And basically it's sort of, I was pretty proud of this move, basic now, putting pressure on the queen. The queen can't just simply capture that bishop now. And if the opponent opts to capture queen, I capture the queen back. And so now it rather than becoming losing several pieces, looks like we've got equal trade. And this is why, from that very trappy move, that excellent move by the opponent of knight e5, we still remain equality. And in fact, that was the only way to maintain equality. Opponent does the best move, which is knight captures bishop with check, capture back with queen. Opponent now captures my rook, and here there was one move that I had to make, and I actually make the wrong move. So the correct move is knight captures pawn, which then protects these two pieces. But here I opted to capture with the queen, which is a mistake because I wanted to liquidate the pieces. but we get to a position that fundamentally is still kind of okay. And that's the thing with all these extra threats, with the pieces dropped off the board. The opponent now, after that series of complicated moves, the risk is blunders. It's very easy to rush out a move, and the opponent, if you see, makes this next move fairly quickly. Ostensibly, with sort of a, you could see some strong, powerful attacks potentially there, potentially capturing my pawn, but missing the fact that that square is protected by my bishop on b6. And so that was a one-move blunder. Captures, I think opponent must have slapped their forehead after doing that and seeing the capture, and they resigned at this point. So good game, GG to the opponent. I'd like to imagine that the psychological impact of the brilliant move was what led to my opponent hanging their piece with a one-move blunder. Although it might be wild and messy, in the realm of beginner intermediate chess, creating complexity and launching multiple threats can be effective, even if the moves are objectively bad. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.